Hi, this is my exam 3 question 2 response. I want to focus on the segregation that isn't really shown in areas in the Bay Area, in certain towns in the Bay Area, but they're very obvious. So the reason I want to say this is because I grew up in Los Gatos. I was very fortunate enough to go to school here my whole life, live in this same house that I'm currently in my entire life, and not have to worry about anything. And that is not because I'm white, but it's because my father worked very hard. It's because my dad grew up with nothing, and he worked hard, he did what he could to now send his children to, good schools. We're able to go to college, not have to worry about anything, live in a house, not have to worry about that kind of stuff. And as I grew up, I realized that that's something that a lot of people do have to worry about. I see a lot of communities being separated by, I suppose you could say, rich and poor. For example, we have East Palo Alto and Palo Alto. Redlining was East Palo Alto, and regular was regular Palo Alto. I can't remember, unfortunately, exactly when that started, but that is one example. Another example is Mountain View. Mountain View, you have the good, nice, I guess you could say white picket fence community of Mountain View, and then you have the low-income area, the less fortunate area, and those are the kids that do have to worry about the things that I don't. Even here in Los Gatos, you see that a lot too. There are few apartment complexes, and some of those complexes do allow, they have X amount of low-income properties, and they are very separate from your typical Los Gatos kids. And I say this because I was friends with somebody who grew up in these apartments when I was younger, and I felt closer to her because I wasn't the typical generational wealth of Los Gatos. So I felt closer to this girl, and getting to know her, I realized that the lifestyle that she lived is nothing compared to the lifestyle that I live. And absolutely nothing compared to the lifestyle that other kids live here in Los Gatos. It's been hidden because, for a while, Los Gatos specifically didn't allow new building. They're now doing new building projects and everything across town. And, because they got in trouble and now they have to continue to build. But they wanted to keep, I guess you could say, the rich in the town and the poor out of the town. And that's something that you definitely see here in Los Gatos versus other areas. And then I think that one of the texts that most inspired me from Unit 3 was probably the low riding one. Like I said, I grew up in San Jose. I would like to say I'm not like the typical white girl of Los Gatos. I had made friends with people from all different areas, from rich to poor to fortunate to less fortunate, and that was all through sports. Thank you to my mother for putting me in sports. In the low riding community, the reason that this one inspired me is because I didn't grow up. I did cheer for 8 years with a girl whose family was very, very, very prominent in the low riding community. So when I was reading this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what it's actually about. And it was really cool to see that they're able to express artwork like this through just simple cars. I grew up in a very car family, I suppose you could say. My dad is totally into cars. He owns a lot of businesses that involve cars. And so that one definitely stood out with me. I think some resemblance is, for example, you see a lot of Japanese streetcars. They're very artistic, they're very expressive, flashy, loud, fast, all those types of things. And these low riding ones are definitely, flashy. I wouldn't say loud. I'm sure you can find a good amount that are loud, but it's something that brought them together as a community. And so I think that that's really important, finding something that brings everybody together. And I think that that's something that even, the town of Los Gatos can go by and find something that can bring us all together one day. Thank you.